Season 52, War number 6, halfway through the season, and we've matched up against CAV. The bands are Lady Deathstrike, Luke Cage, Silk, Professor X, and Count Nefaria, and my team today is going to be Infamous Iron Man, Photon, and Mr. Negative. And before I join, I'm actually just going to change my stat focus from crit rate to special damage, which is going to mean something later in the war. So, anyway, we're going to start today on Path 5 against this Man-Thing, and this is a fight that I don't think I've fought Man-Thing on this node before, but I have fought this node before with Mr. Negative against our Rintra, I believe, and it's basically the exact same strategy. We're going to get to an SP3 with as much dark energy as I think I need, and then drop it, ideally just manage the tactic while I'm building up to there, and then eventually he's going to just die. So I did mismanage the tactic a little bit by forgetting that I can't really place the slow from the Photon synergy to prevent unfazed while debuff immunity is active, but other than that, it's under control. I go for an evade there, and I think I risked it again, but it ended up being okay. So I'm gonna end up losing all of my dark energy because I didn't throw the special 3 fast enough, but it's fine. We have 12, and 12 is going to be all I need. I don't trigger unfazed there, which is great, and then I go for a special 3 with Ebb and Flow Fury and a Personal Fury from Mr. Negative's kit, and that's going to be enough to kill him. So, alright, next up we're going to be fighting Negasonic Teenage Warhead on node 14 with Infamous Iron Man. I took Infamous Iron Man to take some minis last war. He's not going to get any minis for this one, but he's still going to have some pretty cool path fights, I think, especially this one. I've seen people die to this fight, or at least like come close to dying, which is kind of crazy, but I don't think Negasonic is much of a defender, so I just kind of need to know exactly how to manage the threats of the fight, and at that point it was just executing, and yeah, I think it did that pretty well. The only thing I wish I did better in this fight was trying to keep her power gain higher, but that's a little hard to do when I can't really get openings by like anti-baiting her special attack, because that would mean I have to bait a heavy attack, and you can't really counter a heavy. So the threat of the fight, just being able to not get a lot of openings, it's there, but also another threat, you can get rid of her evade just by constantly knocking her down or inflicting her with power burn, both of which iDoom has easy access to. Dropping that SP1 there was a mistake. She's going to end up regenning some. Should have just built to another special attack instead of going for it. It just means the fight's going to take a little bit longer, but go for a heavy attack right there, get the heal block back, and then just finish the job right there. So yeah, I made that fight last a little longer than I needed to, but it ended up being just fine. And there we go, Negasonic down in just over a minute. So we move on to Path 2, Section 2, and I'm going to be using Mr. Negative for this America Chavez. Negative is pretty good for Chavez. If I want to do safe light energy conversions, I do need to obviously do it when she's striking me, which gives her the chance of going for a heavy attack, which she's going to do, but we have tactic heal block to prevent her ability power rate, so it doesn't really end up mattering too much. She's going to get 2 Utopian parallels, but it doesn't really matter, because if she drops an SP1, the power gain is going to be a lot lowered. Same thing with Mystic Dispersion, so you can see she just dies. So there we go. Pretty simple fight, only like 35 seconds, I think, and then we're going to move on to Havok on node 29 next, obviously taking this with Infamous Iron Man, and iDoom is not the best for Havok because his energy resist is very high, and literally all of iDoom's damage is energy damage, except for his light attacks and maybe a couple hits on the heavy and stuff. So yeah, that includes the power burn we're going to be doing, which in that case, we want to get him to throw a special attack at high power, but also it's not going to do much damage to begin with. There are some opportunities to go for energy vulnerabilities in this fight. That's if we let Havok throw a special with enough of his plasma, and then we convert those plasmas into an energy vulnerability, because they would turn into a prowess, but he instead says no. But anyway, that's not going to happen too much in this fight. We go for a heavy attack, trigger the aura, do some power burn damage there, again heavily mitigated by Havok's energy resistance, but we're not in too much danger. The fight's not very threatening when I'm turning off prowess all the time, and then the access to the heal block is relatively easy. It's off of the mediums and heavy attacks when we just place shocks and cowardice. So yeah, it's just slow and steady fight. I knew this wasn't going to be very hard, it was just going to take a bit of time, and yeah, sometimes we have to end up sending tactic champions with Odin to this fight, but iDoom's shock immune, so even though it's long, we don't need to worry about having a pre-fight, and yeah, it's perfectly effective because Havok does not stay alive very long, Havok doesn't have a lot of ways to kill me. He does stay alive a little bit of time, because this isn't the fastest fight, once again, but he gets the job done. So anyway, those are my path fights this war, and now I have 4 mini-bosses to go over, starting with Sasquatch on node 38. Speeding this fight up because I believe this is like the 3rd or 4th time I've taken this fight this season, and it's going to go largely exactly the same. One thing I'm going to do differently in this fight is push Sasquatch to an SP3, which was intentional because I did it at a point where I knew my invul boost would take care of it, so it ended up not being too big a deal, of course, otherwise I wouldn't push him to SP3, but yeah, so we're building to my SP3, and then I'm going to use this heavy attack, get the ebb and flow knockdown triggered, get that fury on myself, do a bunch of burst damage, which we don't get to see yet because he drops his SP3 immediately, of course, but after that we're going to see some nice burst damage. He'll be in Wrath, so he has no damage resistance, and yeah, he goes all the way down to like 28% or something, so then it's just triggering some stun immunities to build up Secutor charges, and at that point the heal block is back, so it's just a matter of killing him as fast as I can, which I'm just going to do from another SP3. So yeah, I know I have another chip of my invul boost, so I dropped the SP3 here, pushing him to another SP3, but my SP3 itself just kills him, so it doesn't even matter. So yeah, we had to speed that fight up because, again, I've done it so many times and it wasn't worth talking about. This fight, we're definitely not speeding up, and you're going to see pretty soon there was no reason to. This is my 5th Enchantress I've taken this season, and this is the 3rd different node, I think, that I've taken her. I've never seen her on node 41 before. Going into this with the same game plan as 14, literally use Power Start 1, kill her as fast as physically possible. Got a little lucky with a resist from Stand Your Ground there, but we still have ways to shut off her threats, like the slow there, and then we just counter her heavy attack just like that, and then we're going to go for a conversion right there, because I knew she had unblockable, so I'm going to go for the conversion, and then I drop the SP2, and she's just going to die as soon as I can finish these degen ticks for a second. Gonna slow combo for just a minute, anti-bait, and get her to throw her heavy. She does, finish her off with the SP1, and that is a 5-5 record on Enchantress, which I'm very happy about. Next up we're going to fight Ebony Maw on node 45, taking this with Photon, and I've definitely used Photon for some tactic fights before. This one ended up being a lot more challenging than anticipated, just because there's a lot of power going on, and while Photon does have some nice Petrify, she doesn't have 100% access to it, so I do have to deal with a lot of regen, and I want to try to get him to drop his specials as fast as possible, because I need to keep countering them with my mediums, because they don't miss, and I also just need to keep countering them in general, which honestly, I should have probably used more heavy attacks in this fight, which I'm going to start doing more of that later, but if he nullifies me, it's annoying because he triggers Mystic Dispersion and such. So yeah, this fight takes forever, and that's why I've sped it up. I don't know if I'm playing this correctly. Like, I feel like there's no way most people are taking this long on the fight, so there might have been a better way to do it that I just didn't. But it's gonna be fine. We're gonna actually come close to dying, but I end up being okay. So I'm hoping the taunt will keep him throwing his special attacks more frequently. He actually ends up getting more passive, so that took him forever to throw the special, but it's fine. We're doing fine on time. Like, I'm not worried about timing out at the moment. I just need to continue to bait specials and punish them to keep that tactic at bay, and eventually, I think it's right here, he's going to get the power gain, and I'm like, oh crap, okay, just do your thing. So, block the special attacks, don't want to risk dexing that and messing it up, and then, what's gonna happen? Something bad's gonna happen. I don't remember what it is, but we're gonna find out soon. Anyway, we're down to under 2 minutes, and, I'm gonna... Oh, I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna actually, miss, because I guess I thought I was in pure light form and I wasn't. Yeah, there, my light attack. I was at 24 charges out of the 25, and then I threw my light attack into his miss, and then it didn't work. So that definitely scared me. But he's got his power gain now, and here I'm like, I can go for the kill, so he's dead. So that was terrifying. But he's down, and then the last fight I somehow forgot to record. I'm really sorry for that. But it was Onslaught on node 47, so the one with his power reserve and the one that can place a falter on me. I don't remember exactly what it's called, missing in action or something. Rank 3 Onslaught with my rank 2 Photon, did it in 2 minutes and finished with 90% health. I'm happy with how it went. I really wish I had that on video. I'm sorry, I just somehow forgot to, but yeah, she did a really good job for that fight. And we did lose the war. They died half as many times as we did. Upsetting, but CAV is a very, very good alliance, so it's still all fine. We're 4-2 on the season, still have a winning record, and my solo rate is 100% with 36 fights. This was by far the biggest war I've had so far this half season, so still looking for my first ever deathless season, and I've made a very good halfway point because I've taken a lot of fights, a lot of difficult fights, and I still haven't died yet, so I'm really happy with how it went. And yeah, I just need to finish it up on the second half of the season and hope and pray that it works out well for me. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.